Calaroga Shark Media.
Jason Zinoman is critic at large for the culture section of the New York Times and writes a column about comedy. I consider him to be a friend of the program, and we interact on social media sometimes, and he was a great guest on here a few months back. On Tuesday, the Times published an article called Best Comedy of 2024. The subheadline, Jon Stewart made The Daily Show must-see TV again. Theo Von had a memorable moment with Donald Trump, and Nikki Glaser broke through. I thought I'd take a look at Jason's column. I've skimmed it. I haven't really read it because I wanted to react in the moment here. Let's start with his Comedian of the Year. Much like Consequence of Sound, he also has Nikki Glaser. Now, I said my piece about that on Tuesday's podcast. I don't think it's an absurd pick, but I don't agree with it. But I will concede Jason Zinoman knows a lot more about comedy and has seen a lot more comedy, especially in the last decade, than I have. So I'm not going to arm wrestle him to the ground and be like, no, you're wrong. I'll just respectfully go, I'm not seeing it. Jason talks about the roast set, but says her new HBO hour provided more substance, wearing a glittering dress and a strategic smile. She performs showbiz cheer, but underneath that shimmering facade is not just an ace club comic, but a restless artist exploring darker terrain. Glaser gets underestimated because she's filthy, but she can go high as well as low, cover universal subjects and meta-comedy analysis, do hilarious character work, and brainy jokes. This relentlessly funny hour is bleaker than it looks, digging into suicide, rape, and the apocalypse, and in a year when it seemed like everyone had a comic take on why you shouldn't have kids, hers was the funniest. Again, we'll agree to disagree. I don't even have that special on my best of the year list. I just thought it was like, eh. Now, really interesting to me, Jason has as best special Ronny Chieng's Love to Hate It. This one is out on Tuesday on Netflix. The logline there, Ronny Chieng unpacks fertility treatment fiascos, the dark side of men's self-health, and scam-sensitive parents in this witty stand-up special. So I've been holding off. I'm itchy to take my own best of the year episode, but I'm going to wait till the other side of Ronny Chieng. I heard from a friend of the show, Dan Bublitz Jr., who texted me. He's like, why don't you record your top special of 24 after New Year's and run it like the first week in January? Which makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Because everybody else is putting out their top lists in early December. So as I wrote back to Dan, because Johnny Mac wants to take a couple days off after Christmas. That's why. Sorry. Just trying to be honest there, Dan Bublitz Jr. You know, a little pre-tape action on December 27th and 28th goes a long way when you do this every day. Zinnman has Best Political Special, Rami Youssef's More Feelings. That was the one that I hated the direction on. I just didn't like how it was shot, and I couldn't stick with it. Maybe if it was released as an album and I listened to it, I'd be like, oh, okay. But, I struggled with that one. Best Clean Comedy, Tom Papa's. Others in the category, Gaffigan, Fortune, Nate. Best YouTube Special, Brooks Wheelan's Alive in Alaska. Getting fired after one season at SNL has shadowed his career, but it's also given him a relatable backstory. I'll have to add that one to my list of things to watch. There's just so many of these. I remember at one point, I think it was Decider pointed out there was something like 300 specials. I like this. I like doing this. No one tortures me. Nobody makes me do the podcast. But you can't keep up. I mean, I guess if this were a full-time job and I did nothing else and never talked to my family, I could keep up. But I can't even keep up with what comes out. Best Topical Comedy, Josh Johnson on TikTok. Josh has been putting out a ton of content. According to Josh, he's put out 22 hours of comedy in a year. And Jason wrote about some other things. I did link to it in the Facebook group on Tuesday morning. The Facebook group is Daily Comedy News Podcast Group. Feel encouraged to join. Feel encouraged to participate. Feel encouraged to start conversations. I enjoy when the listeners start conversations outside of me. Those are my favorite posts. My choice for Comedian of the Year, Nate Bargatze, dropped the trailer for his upcoming special on December 24th. In the special, Nate discusses wanting a second dog, how much pizza to order for guys' night, his wife being the responsible one, and even more. Pretty good trailer. It's like a minute and a half. We'll use that into the break.
My wife, she runs everything, but I do my own laundry. One day, I was driving home, and it popped in my head, and I was like, all right, I'll bring that up. I didn't bring it up that day. I was like, I'm sure there will be a time where we'll be in some fight. I'll be losing this fight. And then, I just come, I'm like, I do my own laundry. I went to career day for my daughter's school. So I was hoping to sit at a table alone They put me at a table with a surgeon, which I think they did it on purpose. Almost to show the kids, here's the difference between reading. They asked him, how long did you go to school to be a surgeon? You know, and he's like 54 years or whatever. It's like, and they asked me, they're like, how long to be a comedian? I was like, you're good now. So, look, finish elementary school, make your parents happy, but then I'd get out and get after it.
Vulture published their best comedy specials of 2024 back on December. They have at number 10, Ali Wong's Single Lady. I feel like I watched, 10 minutes of that one. I'm a comedy snob and not everything tickles my brain. And also from the artist standpoint, not everything is for me, and that's fine. Personally, not on my top 10. It's actually on my not on list section of my notes. Number 9, Langston Kerman's Bad Poetry. I also have that one on my not on list notes where I wrote fine, but meh. And I'm glad I wrote that down because I don't remember even hitting play on it. Langston, I like Langston. He's been a guest on this program. Just wasn't feeling that one. Number 8, Rami Youssef's More Feelings, as I talked about in the first half. I wrote in my notes here to myself, didn't like the direction, couldn't focus on the material. A lot of weird camera angles in that one. Number 7, Kyle Kinane's Dirt Nap. Absolutely. It's got my favorite chunk of the year, which is his Fast and Furious chunk. This one absolutely on my best of year. This one absolutely on my personal best of the year. I won't tell you where until I release my episode, but it's up there. I like that one a lot. I like Kyle a lot. Number 6, Courtney Peruso's Vanessa 5000. Vulture writes, Vanessa 5000 is part of the current indie clowning wave, and Peruso's clown is a mindless, stilted sex robot named Vanessa. In black leather and a cheap blonde wig, Peruso gets the audience to engage with Vanessa on the terms defined by her programming. I haven't seen that one. Even like the cover art just doesn't grab me personally. Not everything is for me. Vulture at number 5, they have Anthony Jeselnik's Bones and All. I lasted 7 minutes on this one. I just felt like been there, done that. It didn't do anything for me. Number 4, Nikki Glazer's Someday You'll Die. I've discussed this at length. I'm going to sit over here in the corner with the people who have unpopular opinions. I guess I'm wrong because everybody else is saying that special's great except me and the people in the Facebook group. I don't know. Thought it was okay. At number 3, Vulture has Adam Sandler's Love You. I've been warming up to this one. Right now, I have it in my second tier. So I've got like my top specials of the year, and then I've got another group that's like, these were good as well, and Sandler's in that second group. But as I've been reflecting on the year, I'm warming up to this one. What I like about Sandler's special is he tried to do something, and I always appreciate someone who's trying to do something, as opposed to some pretty big names who did what they always do, and I guess that's fine, but like I punched out on a lot of specials because it's like, okay, I know what you do. Next, I'm busy. As Adam Sandler specials go, I guess this was my favorite one. I historically have not been a fan of his comedy, but I did like that special. Number 2 is Jacqueline Novak's Get on Your Knees. As I said earlier, not everything is targeted at me. Not everything is for me. Artists can do their thing, and if John doesn't like it, that's fine. My note lasted 4 minutes. And if you know what that special's about, and I say lasted 4 minutes, there's a great joke in there. But I keep this show clean. Number 1, Ali Sadiq's Domino Effect Part 3. I think this is one of those that I was intending to watch, and for whatever reason, never did. I don't have it on any of my lists, so it's on the didn't watch it list. Vulture writes, it's hard to imagine what other comedian could ever come close to pulling off this epic creation he's been building for the past few years. Each YouTube installment is its own long special, but they all connect as pieces of Sadiq's autobiography, beginning from childhood and continuing through the years he spent incarcerated for selling drugs. No part of Domino Effect is bad, but part 3 is a particularly remarkable standout. All right, so that's their number 1 special of the year. Probably worth checking out then, right? All this is subjective. You have your list. I have my list. Vulture has theirs. Jason Zinoman has his. It's just all fun. Let's not take this too seriously. It's comedy. Different things for different people. I'm planning on doing my list right after Christmas is the plan right now from an editorial standpoint. As I mentioned, Johnny Mac wants to pre-tape a couple of it and put his feet up for a couple days. And that's your comedy news for today. Normal episode tomorrow. See you then.